Hello and very warm welcome to Dr. Ahmed YouTube channel. Today, for the benefit of my students, I'm recording this video on Chinua Achebe's novel Things Fall Apart with reference to the cultural depictions in this novel. Most of the time, this novel is recognized as to be the first post-colonial novel written by some African writers, Chinua Achebe. And this novel therefore becomes even more interesting, not only because of its multiple representations of culture, African culture, IGBO culture in it, but also it goes to talk and discuss about the process of colonization. Both these things make it a truly post-colonial novel with lots of representations. So let us enter into it and see how this novel becomes the most important novel with respect to post-colonial theory and post-colonial ideology. For this purpose, we need to see some of the slides as well, which will keep on running side by side. First of all, for example, this is the title slide, Cultural Richness in African Postcolonial Fiction. And if you look at the picture below, that also goes to talk about number of things inside Africa, the way human beings dress and the way they continue to do the things in their life and how it was affected by the British colonialism or the other people's colonialism. That will be definitely portrayed through it. Taking it further to the first point, that it is the Chinua Achebe, first of all, that we must talk about. Chinua Achebe is definitely very much important person in the post-colonial theory and post-colonial writings. He belongs to Nigeria, and he's not simply the person who has read and got educated in Nigeria, in very higher education institutions in Nigeria, but also is the person who's got education in many international institutions as well. And he has not only served in Nigeria, but also in the American and the British institutions. Like in Nigeria, he has been associated with the radio programs as well, and later on some publication things as well. And after that, he started to write novels. He taught in certain American universities as well. But then main focus of Chinua Achebe became to write on the novels. Chinua Achebe's contribution must be very great because he's the very person who has seen and lived inside this world which he's going to portray. Especially because Achebe is the son of the mother and the father who do not belong to just one set of circumstances. One is Christian, other is Nigerian, and in that way he's the product of these two people. So absorbing two types of ideologies and two types of cultures in him, he is the one who could be the best person to describe all that because he's seen all that. So he is contributing a lot into this post-colonial theory and making the things represent in such a way that the local indigenous writer is representing and is trying to tell the people who are colonizers that this is the type of Africa he belongs to. Though he goes on definitely to follow the master in his techniques and using of English language and then portraying the arrival of the master and trying to establish the dominance, superiority of the master. But then it's a part of the post-colonial theory. So the novel is representing these two things side by side. This novel should be called more a cultural novel because African culture is very much represented through that. It is the kind of document, cultural document and civilizational document of African people or the Igbo culture people that has been done by him. So that is a type of enlightenment also to the world, to the people, to the reader who are reading this novel today. They come to know that how the African people used to live and type of life they used to enjoy up to some extent, and later on how they had to go under colonization. And as a result, what kind of losses, harms came to them. All these things are described with Chinua Achebe. So that is the best contribution of Chinua Achebe done so far. And therefore, let us see what is the kind of contribution he has further done. First of all, the title. The title of the novel is Things Fall Apart, and if you look at the picture, that also is reflecting the same way, how do the things fall apart. So now my students know very well that the title comes from the poem Second Coming by Yeats, and there he tries to give the meaning of the religious meaning to the world. And here, therefore, the title may be having multiple meanings. For example, first of all, if we consider the political meaning actually refers back to the kind of thing which is with reference to colonialism, British colonialism. In the 1940s, because of the First World War and then because of the Second World War, the grip of Britain on its colonies was decreasing, was becoming weaker, or it was coming downward, and as a result, the regional powers or periphery powers were gaining ground, and the freedom movements were going on. All these things had made the center weaker, and the periphery was becoming stronger. So this political interpretation of the title can be that the center has become weaker, and so the periphery is very strong. There could be the religious type of interpretation of this title as well, because in the word of the age from 1920 onwards, where the modern modernism and postmodernism was the ruling philosophy. In that philosophy, religion was not that important. It was losing its grip upon the people, and that is why it was said that center, the Christian center, was not remaining. The faith center was not remaining so strong, and as a result, sides and peripheries, they were gaining ground. But then there could be some African context of this novel as well, of this title as well. In the African context, for example, the rich IGBO culture, which used to hold the people together in a very strong way, in a very popular way, and the people loved their culture. Because of the arrival of the British into this area, their cultural values were decreasing with the passage of time, and they were under threat. Their culture was under threat, and so it could be referring to that thing as well. It has its post-colonial context also, that because of colonization, the center, say London or USA, that was becoming stronger. But with the passage of time, when decolonization was to start, and then the representation of the local people was also to take place at that time, also some kind of things were not stable, and as a result, things fall apart, refers to the post-colonial context as well. So this much can be different meanings or different implied meanings or thematical meanings of the title of this novel. Let's go further and see how we can have more things regarding this novel in an important way. For example, first of all, we have this IGBO culture, and all of us know very well that IGBO culture is the richest possible culture. In the picture also, we see a number of things which are African IGBO culture's representation. First of all, let us talk about the men and women of the IGBO culture. Agriculture is the old and ancient culture, as shown in the novel. The men are required to be very strong and very powerful, and women are required to be the people who must be strong and powerful, but they cannot count themselves as much powerful and strong as they are. And therefore, man is portrayed in this novel as the very first page goes to show that the man is very strong. Akankwar, for example, is very strong. He has defeated Emalinze the cat. So the tone of the novel is set with respect to the manly power of man, I mean the muscular power of man, to show that he's very powerful, that he's very strong and can overpower the difficulties. Women have not been shown so strong in that way, but they do have their own freedom in their own way. The type of classification of work has been done. This is the type of work which only men will be doing, and that's the type of work which only women will be doing. So in that way, the discrimination is on the basis of the work, not because of the gender, but because men used to do difficult kind of thing, because it's an ancient society being represented. Although the novel is written in 1940s, but still the age which is being portrayed is some type of 16th and 17th century, where knowledge and science and technology had not reached so far, and that is why it is still going to be an ancient world. The crops of this area, they're also the part of the culture. The crops of this area are definitely yam is the chief crop, is the biggest possible crop, is the kind of food which is staple food of the whole agriculture people, and they grow yams in a very huge quantity. And in fact, if you have more yams, then you can call yourself a rich person, a powerful person, and a useful person to the society. Besides yam, we have the palm oil that can be harvested, that can be called from the trees which are called as the palm trees, and same is the case with the cola nuts. They are also available there, and many other small vegetable type of fruits are done there. So in the same way, if we proceed further with respect to the culture, not only the crops are rich and kind of fertilized land is there, and the people who are engaged into that prove that it was uh, a type of agrarian society where the land is supposed to provide the food to the people. Besides having flora and fauna and the fowls there, everything was going on very fine and very nice in this area of the world. The writer has taken a long time in the description of the villages, what type of villages these are. For example, 9 villages had a confederation type of confederate was established. They were called as the Mufia villages of the Ibo people. Then the Mabano tribe is there. Then so many other tribes have been ruling over those areas. The homes of these people, as normally it is called obi, that is in a courtyard. The obis are situated, and every obi is inhabited by one wife. The husband may be having his separate obi, and they may be living inside that. These obis are very ancient type of structures made out of the reed and some kind of grass also, that could be very safe during the summer season. It could stop rains as well, but it's a type of ancient hut system which people loved and had it. And so they had a kind of shelter as well, with a door sometime and without door sometime. And then the wives are living, of course, in every OB, one wife is present, and there was no mono wife system, but rather it was a polygamy type of thing that people used to have. Not one wife, they could have 2, 3, 4 wives, and sometimes it could be 9 wives as well. The more the wives you have, the kind of symbol of the richness, the power, or it could also be called the kind of honorability that somebody is having more wives. And then people used to treat the guest in a very special way. They would offer the guests, they would offer the kola nut first of all, and then they would offer the palm oil wine, and after that they would surely present some honey, some the pepper, which they call alligator pepper powder, and they would also offer some foods along with that. So in a very special way it was presented to the people. For example, when the guest has come and the wine was to be taken, all the wives of the house would also take part, but they would take wine after the men have taken wine, and the eldest wife of the man had more right on taking of the wine. So she was offered first of all, and later on the other wives would join in taking the sips of that wine. And there's a particular way of taking wine by the wife, that she would bend one knee, and one knee was not bent while doing so. She would take it and say thank you to the people and go out. In this way the guests were treated. The days and nights of these people were also the part of their culture. They would rarely go outside during the nights, especially those nights which were the dark nights. Moon was not there, because they believed that during the dark nights the evil could be there, but during the moonlight even the lame would like to go out and have enjoyment of the night and the games and the play and the work. So they usually worked during the day or slept during the night, but sometime if it was the moonlight, they would go outside and play games and have different kind of cultural activities as well. Among them, Ogbenji child, having the Ogbenji child is also the part of their culture. Ogbenji child is the child which is born after the death of one child. They would say that the dead child's soul or the spirit would enter back into mother's womb, and so whatever the next child would come, the possibility is that the child would be dead. So in that way, if the child survived, that child would be called as an Ogbenji child. This child was considered to be a special child, and it was also considered by the church of those people to be the special child, and they could have some rights on that. Then the part of their culture is also chi. Chi is a personal god. It's a type of god which one can carry mentally or physically along with him. And if you do something good, they would say your chi is happy with you. And if you don't do something good, the chi is not happy with you. So chi is actually you yourself. That is your invention. That if you do good, you are doing good, the chi is also happy. So chi is a personal god, a type of support, a type of alter ego with which one can talk about. Then there is the oracle. So they had the church system as well. And they had the priest also, and in the mountains they had some kind of caves, and in these caves they supposed that the higher spirits would come, and so the fire was kept burning there, and some priest was there. Especially that priest or priestess would have a big right on a Benji child to take that child with her. So in this way, these are some of the cultural aspects which these people had, and Chinua Achebe has taken special, care in order to describe all those things in a cultural way. So that is why this novel is the clear and very big representation of the African culture. In order to proceed further, let us see what we can see here, what we can do here. It says that now the social system with respect to the cultural aspect may be talked about by us here. As is most of the time said by the colonial master, that these people didn't have their culture, they didn't have their social systems, and colonial master came and provided them all these structures and systems. It may not be that right, because the Igbo people did have their marketplaces, village criers were there, justice system was there, punishments and beating of the wives and murders of everything. They had a type of system, but not the system as the European would say it is. Let's take them one by one. For example, it is said that they had the marketplace, the place where not only the things were sold and bought, but also the place where the people would gather. and they would discuss the things with themselves. And for this purpose, they had the system of village crier, and he would go during night. Sometime he would go and beat on his drum, and after that cried out that this is the meeting to be held tomorrow. Again and again, we witnessed that for the sake of meeting, the crier is going and that person is doing. So people would gather in the marketplace to discuss their issues and to give certain type of decision and justice as well. By the way, they had their own type of justice system. For example, when we have the incident where one woman of the Mufia tribe is killed by the Mabano person, at that time they gathered together and decided that either they should go for the war or they should demand indemnity of war, and that was that a boy and a girl should come when a murder has taken place in that way. So the type of justice existed there, though not the way British system of justice was there, but they had it. So in this way, they had the social system also, marketing system also, justice system also, and the punishment system also. For example, Okonkwo, when beat his wife during the sacred days, when the beating of the wife was not allowed, doing of anything bad was not allowed at that time. A punishment was given to him that he would not only offer some offering to the oracle, but also he would be exiled for 7 years, and he was definitely exiled. So that's the kind of punishment that he'd have. And because of the murder, the punishment I have already mentioned, exile of Okonkwo is there. And all these things are the part of, and then another incident also took place where Okonkwo was sitting in a meeting, and a bullet was shot by him by chance from his gun, and as a result, the death took place, and definitely again he was punished. So punishment, the crime, the punishment, everything was considered, given, was resolved also. So type of justice system did exist. They had their marriage system as well, that the bride was to be offered some money in the shape of cowries. Cowrie is a kind of system of finance, that is a currency that a man was required to pay to the bride so that the marriage could take place. In this way, there was a social system. Gathering would take place, food was eaten, celebration of marriage was made. Everything is done in the same way as any civilized and cultured society would do. So it's not so right to say that there was no culture at all. No, among the Igbo people, rich cultural aspect was present in every system of life. We can witness lots of cultural aspect, and that is very thing which Achebe has tried to highlight in his novel Things Fall Apart. So that is why Things Fall Apart is the best representation of the culture of Igbo people. Proceeding you with you further, I would show you here that there is another part of their culture, and that was the storytelling. Now, Africans are very much, important with respect to the storytelling, because writing material was not there. The writing material, paper and the pens, that was not available at that time, though they had a type of writing system. But most of the time, the stories were told by mouth. These stories traveled from one generation to the other. And so we have two stories. One is the story about mosquito, and it is said that why mosquito is all the time, creating noise near the ear. And the story behind it is that once mosquito came closer to the ear of a ear and asked the ear to marry him, the ear would laugh at him and say, "How would you, marry me? You are so thin and sick, and you are able to die very soon." And the mosquito, therefore, since that time, is surviving and coming close to the ear of the ear and telling the ear that I'm still alive. And in the same way, we have the story of the tortoise also, that why the tortoise is having unsmooth skin. And the very big story is behind that the tortoise cheated the birds in a party when the birds had helped him to fly. Later on, birds got anger on him, and they avenged all this thing. And as a result, the tortoise fell down, and his body was broken into pieces. And these pieces were joined together by the wise man of the village, and as a result, the tortoise is having the skin which is not so smooth. So therefore, all these stories are actually not only telling us the richness of African people with respect to their culture, their values, but also these stories are used in order to teach lessons and morals to the people. And in that way, the kind of moral training of the people is taking place. So in this way, the stories become the very important part of the culture of the African people. And same is the case with the arrival of locusts. Now, locusts are, as referred in the kind of holy books in Quran as well, we have the mention of the locust, and most of the time it's taken as negative. But in case of African Igbo society, it was taken as positive, though they ate up their crops. But In return, the Ibo people would gather these locusts in huge quantities and roasted them in the palm oil and would eat them as. So that is the eating of the locust. When the locusts come, they become happy. They carry them and they eat them. That also goes to show that how much the people are diverse and very much capable in their getting up the food from their surrounding. And palm oil is one of the best thing of these people, that the natural palm oil could be had from the palm trees, and that was the kind of proof of some person's bravery, powerfulness, that a person is able to have that oil. Kola nut again is a very beautiful thing and very delicious thing. This was used by these people in order to treat their guests, also in order to use it at special occasions. Also, yams are again described by me already, that they are going to be the hugest crop which they grow, and more the yams you have, the richer person you are. And most of the time, the honorable people of that area, they had the goat skin bag most of the time on their shoulder, and that goat skin bag can have anything in it. And same as the case with the stool which they are having possibly, and that stool is used for sitting for the big people only, for the great people only, not everybody. Otherwise, the goat skin is there to be sit on and to be sat on rather. So that is the kind of thing as a cultural aspect they have. Then the story of Ikmifuna is also there. Ikmifuna is the child who comes at a type of prize money or a kind of reconciliation part. Sister of Ikmifuna and Ikmifuna come to that area. Now Ikmifuna is a very talented young man, very sharp young man. He knows all the skills and is a very good singer, very good musician as well, and very good worker as well. Obedient boy as well. But still he is killed because of the system designed by the religious people of that time, that ultimately the boy of the other tribe is to be killed. He's not to be allowed. He's not to be allowed to sit inside the tribe when he's grown up. So he is killed. So Ikmifuna's story is a tragic story, but it does give some type of lesson that that religion was being used by certain people in order to kill the innocent human beings. So that is the type of thing which is happening inside Abo culture. So every aspect of Abo culture has been talked about, by Chinua Achebe, and so we become very much aware as if we are standing right in the middle of the Ibo people. So beautifully, Nigerian writer Chinua Achebe has described all these things. So going further, for more details, well, here you see I have brought a slide which is very much showing the arrival of a colonial master. If you look at the picture, you will be able to see that there is one non-white man, second non-white man, but we have these white people as well who have entered, and behind them there's a church as well, and the population of these people. So in this way, what we are getting here, that the Igbo people were the very people who were invaded in a way by the white man. The mention of Mr. Brown is there. He's the first white man who comes there, and they build a church also, start converting the people into Christianity. The people who are facing this white Christianity, white Christian religion, that was so innocent people that when, first of all, a white man came to visit their areas, the Igbo people thought him to be an albino whose color, skin has been damaged because of certain reason, and the absence of technology and the knowledge was so poor that the people termed his bicycle as a kind of iron horse and bound it with the tree. So in this way, white man enters and is to face and compete and overpower those people who, in comparison to him, are very much less scientifically advanced and very much poor as well. So he is using his advanced technology in order to look at these people, in order to control these people. Definitely he can. Then very soon he begins to recruit the local people as guards also, as the converted Christian also, and in this way begins to control the men and material and the kind of things of the people around him. The white man therefore has an army of guards with him, and these guards become the loyal people towards the white man. And these guards, when they come among the local people, they are hated, they are disliked, and one of the guards is killed by a Kankuo, and as a result, there is a kind of fight going on, and white people want to arrest a Kankuo, so that is why they put him in the jail also, and so they control the water resources as well, and they distribute water among the people, and it was not freely available to the local people then. Akankuo becomes the big enemy of the white man, because he is the one who doesn't like them. He's the one who instigates the whole tribe that they should fight back in order to remove the white man. So he's the representative of the resistance to the colonialism as well. But colonialism was such a huge power that these simple-minded people were overpowered by them. And a special term was introduced among these people, that was ash buttocks. This was used for those guards who wore ash color uniform given by the white man, and they didn't wear the pants, the full trousers. Rather, they would wear the knickers, and as a result, their name was ash buttocks. So that is the type of invasion upon these simple-minded people. That's the type of thing which happened to the to these black people, to the African people, and how the white man entered into them, and how these colonial systems overpowered the local indigenous, simple-minded, cultural people, and their local culture was basically, with the passage of time, destroyed. The way they used to live, the way they used to enjoy their life, the way they used to have connections with each other, all was destroyed. All was being destroyed by the white man's colonialism, and in this way, this novel represents all those stages as to how the white man would enter, as to how the white man would control the men and material and resources, and ultimately we would leave from that place, and as a result, decolonization would take place. All these things combined together make this novel the best representation of the colonialism or the post-colonial theory as well. Let's go a little bit forward and see what further we can have. And here it is, the resistance. As I said already, that Okonkwo is the one who's a symbol of resistance. Otherwise, a very powerful person, having a finger pointing out at the white man that why he's come there, why he's controlling his area, he loves his area and wants the white man to go away. But definitely, Okonkwo, a simple-minded person, just having the muscular power, cannot compete the knowledge, the science, the technology, and the machinations of the white man. As a result, he therefore becomes the enemy number one of the white man, and ultimately he's sought by the white man. And as he didn't want to be killed at the hands of the white man, so he commits suicide, and because of his suicide, one can say the process of colonization also completed. So that is the way how resistance was offered by the local people. It's not the case that white man came forward and very easily occupied everything. No, resistance was there, but this resistance was meager, it was short, it was not that big. So as a result, the colonization became as easy as possible. So in this way, one can have a good view, a type of review of this novel, to understand how this novel is the best cultural representation of the Igbo people, done by Chinua Achebe, the famous writer of the African Nigeria. So in this way, we have reached the total end of the whole discussion. The students can take clues from them, and they can use it in their assignments, but when they use it, they must be able to support their point of view from the text as well. The text has the proofs of all these things, because what I read in the text, I have tried to provide the review of all that. There may be a little bit of mistake also, but that is human error. It's not done with one's own will and wish and knowingly. So students should go into the text and find out the textual lines, and to make their assignments very strong, by giving these points with respect to culture and material, fruits or the vegetables or the foods grown by them, the kind of system, social system, and the kind of financial system which they have. All these things can be talked about by watching this video. So thank you very much for watching all that. Hopefully you people have understood something, and if you like it, do not fail to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button as well. So thank you very much for watching this. Hopefully seeing you in some next video as well. That's it from me for this